All right, 142, what's going on? I'm back here at our district headquarters here in Phoenix, back in the center of it all. President, Director, and General Chair John Coveny's office, and he was kind enough to sit down with us again. John, thanks again for sitting down with me.
Very glad to be here. I kind of enjoy this.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun last time. When we did our first sit down, we were a couple weeks away from our first convention in nearly 6 years. It was a great event, got a lot of business done. How did you see convention, and how did you feel like that it went?
That's a great question. So the overall aspect of the convention just seemed so overwhelming when we first got there. Just trying to think through everything that had to be done to make sure that we were putting things in place. And I want to give a special shout out to the convention committee because they did a bang up job. Without them, who knows where we'd ended up. But overall, on the convention, getting the work done, fixing the bylaws, hearing from the membership, those were the key parts of the convention. And I don't know why I was concerned about that prior to going in, because it's conducting normal business, things that we do every single day. I guess it was the enormity of the whole event that kind of got in my head. But at Thursday at 1 o'clock, when I hit that gavel for the end, it was like the weight was off my shoulders forever. And I looked back and thought, I could do it again next week. It was that much fun.
You probably wanted it to do it again, right?
Absolutely. So talking with the membership through the whole process, I got to see people that I don't get to see on a regular basis. I was able to intermix with the membership from all the carriers across the district. And we had some gathering events at night. We had some dinners, and it was just a different atmosphere as opposed to going into negotiations and always focused on trying to get what we can get, or going into an arbitration worried about the outcome of that. This was more, we were with family, all together family, and it made it just fantastic.
Yeah, it was definitely a great event. And so for some of the people that weren't there, I just kind of want to talk through the process a little bit. So day one, that was Monday, was registration. What was your favorite part of the registration? Because I saw you moving around kind of talking to everybody. So did you have a favorite part of that first day?
Well, those out there that know me know that I love to talk. I can talk to anybody about anything at any time. I just enjoy talking. I enjoy hearing what the membership has to say. But seeing people that I hadn't seen in many years. When I became a GC in 2016, so I left Pittsburgh to be on the road to fight for the membership. So I got to see a lot of my friends come out of Pittsburgh that showed up to the convention, and it was a great pleasure to see them and see the excitement in their faces that our district was represented by somebody from their local lodge. To see the retirees that came in was really just kind of emotional, because those are the people that laid the groundwork for us before we even got here. So to answer the question more directly, just to see the membership as a whole coming in to enjoy the event.
Yeah, and that was really awesome. So that evening after the registration, we had our welcome reception.
Right.
And it was definitely a good way to kick things off. I felt like it brought everybody together even closer, just got everybody out there having a good time, and it really, really was fun. The food was excellent. The environment was awesome. And then our 142 family, we just know how to have a good time in any situation. So that leads us into our next day, day one, the official opening day. I was in the crowd. I saw you get up there. You were presented with the gavel, and you opened the convention, right? First convention in 6 years. How did it feel swinging that gavel and opening it up for the first time in 6 years?
So the whole ball of wax came together at one moment, right then and there. To see the crowd, to realize what we had in front of us, to get the gavel as a gift, and I have my glass one that sits here on my desk now, which is really nice. Was really emotional. It was really cool. And then we had to get down to business, and I knew we had a lot of work to do. So when I dropped that gavel and opened the convention, it was just like a sea of emotions that went everywhere. It was pretty uplifting, a relief at the same time, because now we're finally getting going.
Right. No looking back, right?
It was an impressive moment.
It was, and so typically at conventions or any IAM event, conferences, conventions, the first half of the day is reserved for special guest speakers, and the second half of the day is usually reserved for the business.
Right.
The first half of that first day, we had you gave a speech. I know we had our international president Brian Bryant. We had GVP Rich Johnson and General Secretary Treasurer Doris Cervantes, and they all gave great speeches. And then we moved on to the business part of it, which for anybody who's been to a convention and those who haven't been to a convention, the business of a convention is to basically change or update the bylaws, and so that's kind of what we moved into in the second half of each day, and we covered a lot of business over the entire convention. Do you want to talk about maybe some of the big bylaw changes that occurred?
Yeah. So coming out of trusteeship, we were bylaws were imposed upon us through the trusteeship, so we knew we had a lot of work in front of us, right? So some of the things that we cleaned up that were basic were just language cleanups, things that applied more to the day-to-day operation of the district. But a couple things were really important to us, and along the process, coming out of trusteeship, going into our convention, the bylaws were recalled by the district or by the Grand Lodge, and they turned our biannual convention into a convention every 4 years. So we had to clean up all the language wrapped around that, and that was big. And it was important that the membership understood that we went to a 4 year convention because the cost of a convention is astronomical. We set aside money every dues payment that goes toward the convention, but everyone knows what the economy is like today, and the convention expense just got to be astronomical. And it's a big expense on the local lodges to send them to a District 141 convention, a District 142 convention, a transportation conference, and a Grand Lodge convention. So between the leadership of the Grand Lodge, the leaderships of both districts, we got together, had a meeting, and agreed that the convention should be every 4 years and only one of the events each year. And we felt that that was very important. The Grand Lodge recalled the bylaws. They corrected that, and then we had to clean up the language getting into the convention, and it was voted on unanimously. So it was good work by all, especially the membership. Currently in the process of running a special election right now. All the other bylaws, District 141, District 19, some of the other districts throughout the IM, their language says that the president, directing general chair, or whatever the title is of that person, they have the ability to appoint someone to that position with approval of the executive board. So it's not just one guy sticking somebody in there. With the approval of the executive board, we can appoint someone for the term of the election. So we have an election every 4 years. So anyone that had left and had to be replaced, under the new bylaw that we passed, allowing us to do it till the next election, wouldn't have cost us anything. This last election alone, the special election, just in mailers, cost us $40,000, and that's $40,000 of dues payers' money.
Right.
So if we had to have one, and the bylaws currently said that we had to have one, and I missed it, I'll take ownership of that. But we fixed it as soon as we were made aware. We called for the election, but we replaced 6 people at 6 different times. That would have been 6 different elections at just a mailer of $40,000 an election. You can see how quickly that money adds up.
And that's just our cost, right? That doesn't even include the locals' costs.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So 40,000 for the district, and we in the locals. If you run that 6 times, you're talking locals could go bankrupt.
Absolutely.
It's entirely possible. So yeah, that was a big bylaw that was passed.
Yeah, we had some good discussion with folks, and things seemed to go really smooth. So the whole bylaw process within itself played out just the way it should.
Yeah, we had close to 150 delegates from all across the district, and they all got to voice their opinion for these bylaw changes that were submitted through the process laid out in the bylaws. So I want to move on to the next day. We had a lot of great speakers that day as well. We had Hassan Solomon. We had Tony Blevins from Guide Dogs of America, Tender Loving Canines, come and speak to us. That's a person very close to you, and it kind of we'll talk more about him later on. But we also had myself who spoke. Shout out. Good second day. We moved back into business and passed some more bylaw changes and got that all wrapped up. Um, After the second day, that's when we had a member appreciation reception, and I look back on that as my favorite part of the convention. And I guess a question I might have for you is, what was your favorite part of the convention? Did you have a specific part that was your favorite
Of the overall
of
convention?
the whole thing?
Yes. So we had put together a committee to answer questions about the Railway Labor Act and about contract negotiations, and it was myself, James Carlson, and Sean Ryan on the stage. Initially, we had an FAA person and a National Mediation Board person that were going to be on that committee as well. But because of the current turmoil in the political system, they weren't allowed to come. Uh, Not by us, by the government, they weren't allowed to come. So we still felt it was important to get that information and education out there, and we slotted a certain amount of time for it, and it would have ran over and it would have kept going. I love nothing more than to educate the membership, especially on the rules and regulations that impact them. How do we get to negotiations? What happens in that process? How do we get to an arbitration? How does the Railway Labor Act impact us in our day to day life? And to me, that's some of the most important information that all our membership could have. So when I do the convention again in 4 years, provided the membership elects me back into this position, I'm going to allot about an hour and a half just for that session alone.
One of the other things about the convention that I enjoyed were the committee breakout sessions. We had several committee breakout sessions. We had women's, we had young workers, organizing, safety, we had human rights. I mean, just a whole slew of committees.
I think we had 11 in total.
11 committee. Wow! And each committee breakout session had just a group of people from the convention delegates, and they came together. They put together a committee report and they delivered that to the membership. So, can you tell us a little bit about those committees and about the committee reports?
Yeah, let me highlight something real fast on the committee reports. All the committee reports are available on the district website, so you could actually go in and read what interests you, and I would recommend everyone read them all, because then you get an idea of what our folks worked on at the time. I did make a point of going around to each committee breakout room, to have a little discussion about what they were doing, try to give them a little encouragement on how to improve things, and most importantly, just hear what they had to say while they were in the room. If there was anything specific that they required from me, if they required something from the district, from my staff, whatever the case may be, we were there to assist and help the membership. And they all worked hard. I mean, there was probably a total of 7 hours dedicated to breakouts to put these reports together. And no matter what time I walked in the room, people had their nose to the grindstone, as they say, trying to get this stuff done. And a lot of dialogue, a lot of exchange. And you can see when you watch these things happen, who the leaders are, right? They rise and just happen to drive the room and make it do everything it needs to do. So, and not that everyone in that room wasn't a leader, but even leaders need leaders.
Yeah.
So.
And I don't know if you have these numbers on you, but I had heard in some of the convention people behind the scenes were talking about the number of first-time delegates we had at the convention. Do you have that number off the top of your head?
Yeah, there's 87 first-time delegates,
Wow.
which is just it's astronomical, and it's a testament to what's going on in the world of aviation as well, because we have so many new hires, so many younger people. It's the future of our union, so we got to embrace them and bring them along.
And we are, and that's one thing that just impressed me the most about those committee reports was the Young Worker Committee report. I don't think at the last district convention 6 years ago there was even a Young Worker Committee breakout session. But this time, not only did we have a Young Worker Committee session, committee breakout, but it was just full of young people who really wanted to get involved. We also had a women's committee session, which was just so powerful.
Yeah, just to add into the young workers portion, I did put a couple senior folks in the room, because without mentors, nobody really knows what takes place, right? So two good friends of mine, people that I've worked with for a very long time, I assigned to that room to assist the young workers, and they were instructed truly not to take over, but just to guide and help them get to the right spot.
Yeah.
And I think it was a very good mix. I think it helped out. Let me add something else too about all the committees. All the committees, that are formed, I'm truly hoping it's just the beginning, right? They're assigned to that committee for the next 4 years. They're part of that process. They're part of what they put in place in their reports, and I want them to hold the district accountable for what they put in their reports as well. And we know that everything out there takes money to get done, right? But there's ways that we can work with the locals, with the Grand Lodge, and the district all together to put some of these ideas in motion. Because if we don't continue to grow, then we're gonna die away. So we really need to listen to our membership and do the things that they've requested.
Yep. And those committee reports definitely laid out a roadmap for us to enact upon over the next 4 years. And I'm excited to see where we move as a district over those next 4 years. All right, so we just wrapped up talking about convention, and in our first episode, we talked about just how you got to where you are today, how you became president, directing general chair. Let's talk not so much about you, which I know is going to be a bit of an issue because you love to talk about yourself. But let's talk about the district, District 142. I know we went into trusteeship in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
We were released in 2023. And then here it is, 2025. We just did our first convention. So kind of talk me through the trusteeship process, what all happened in that time period, and why it's important to us.
Okay. The trusteeship came about under the rules of the Constitution. Section 6 in the IAM Constitution says that the IP has the right to take any district or local into supervision or trusteeship depending on a slew of items that could occur. Anything that would endanger the IAM, endanger the district, and endanger the local for theft, misappropriation. In fact, if you look in Section 8 of the IAM Constitution, Article 6, Section 8, it tells you all the reasons that it can happen. And what happens in trusteeship is the IP, International President, they appoint a trustee deputy, and that trustee deputy was a very good friend of mine now, Tony Blevins. When Tony and I first met, you probably could have lit a match off the friction between the two of us. I probably didn't help myself with my personality and my wonderful charm.
What are you talking about?
So I flew into Kansas City. I met with Tony Blevins, and I said to Tony, "What do we do now?" And my best Tony Blevins interpretation, he looked up at me, and said, "Brother, we're going to run a district." So that was truly the beginning of everything else to follow. Now, trusteeship it's no picnic, right? Everything has to be done to the letter, by the letter, and you can't rewrite letters. It's just a very in-depth process. And not to say that the business shouldn't run that way every day, but anyone that's a human, anyone that does any type of work, whether you're a CSA, a ramp agent, a mechanic, there's things you do to get the job done, right? But there are rules and regulations that you have to stay within. But when Tony Blevins is in the room, there's no deviation. You walk the line. Yeah. It's just that simple. So during the trusteeship, all our finances were locked down. They brought a multitude of auditors into the room. What a mix that was, right? Because you had people from all over the country. You had general chairs from all over the country. You had the international folks coming in and out. It was just really total chaos with guidelines. After we worked through a lot of the problems, things started to take shape. I took charge of the trusteeship from the district side in February of 2022, and we were released from trusteeship in January of 2023. But during that time frame, the whole district was restructured.
Yeah.
Everything from the way we moved money, to the way the bylaws were written, to the way we interacted with the membership, to the way the membership records were tracked. Everything was torn down and put back in an order, a fashion to make the district functional and be able to do the things that we had to do. It wasn't easy. When I took office in February, we were right in the middle of the second and third vote for Southwest Airlines contract. All of a sudden, I became in charge of all the contracts across the district. I'd already been involved in negotiations with American, one of the biggest airlines in the world, third biggest in our district. But to all of a sudden be the guy that's looking over it all, that was a big fundamental shift for myself. After we got all the stuff all lined up in order, things started to move in a very good direction. I had to have an interview with Tony Blevins, explain to him where I thought the district was, what it was doing. Now, Tony was overseeing the whole thing, but he had to make sure that my mind was in the right place. Um, we were released from trusteeship on January 3rd of 2023. And that's when the fun really began to take over the district and move forward. But the hurdles that we went through in trusteeship, um, membership, bylaws, finances, communication, just all the things that make this big machine work were just look like big. I sum it up this way: when I took the job at first, things were running so fast. I'd just grab what I could and I'd work on it till it was fixed. After about 6 months, I could see what I was reaching for and able to fix it. When we came out of trusteeship, we were running like a fine Swiss watch.
Yeah, and it has been a lot of fun to see the growth of this district. When we went under trusteeship, it's kind of crazy to think about the process. They peel back every little bit. The finances, the bylaws of the previous district basically go away. It's almost like a completely new district is reborn out of the ashes of the old one. And I think it's almost kind of poetic that we moved to Phoenix of all cities, right?
Absolutely.
Because this
And
district,
that's what our new newspaper is going to be called,
the
the
Phoenix.
Yes,
Oh, very cool. So I'm excited to see that coming out. But yeah, so everything of the old District 142, we can kind of say the old District 142 and the new District 142. So everything from the old District 142 basically has no bearing on how we exist today. I mean,
exactly. So, and you mentioned the bylaws, right? And that's the most important because that's what drives the district and how we do business. The old bylaws that were there were taken back, completely, pretty much tossed out. And Deputy Blevins, along with the assistance of the International and the assistance of the folks in the office at District 142, put the new bylaws together. Now, my role as a PDGC, I just kind of oversaw what they were doing, put in my suggestions, but under the trusteeship, he had no obligation to listen to anything I had to say. Now, fortunately for myself and for Tony, we had a good relationship by that time. So I had some input in what went on with the bylaws. So once we were released from trusteeship, the bylaws that were written by the deputy per the Constitution were adopted by District 142.
and we basically had to live by those bylaws, and they were great. But that, in the way I see it, is our last final hurdle. We were released from trusteeship in 2023,
Yep.
But the last final hurdle was this convention we just did, because even though they were our bylaws, they weren't our bylaws. They were given to us. And so us going to convention and able to really say these are the District 142 bylaws. These are ours. We made.
That's a really great point. I never really looked at it like that. So we kind of put the frosting on a cupcake.
Exactly. It's it has been a long road, and now after this convention, which we had great participation from all the locals, we were able to go through all the bylaws, really clean up a lot of the grammatical issues, amongst other things. Now we are 100% on our own.
Yeah, and you also raised a good point that the delegates at the convention were the ones that approved this, right?
Yep.
So, the bylaws do say that there has to be a referendum. It's a referendum by the delegates elected by the membership, and unanimous. Well, I think we had one bylaw that someone voted no on. I can't remember which one it was exactly, but it was really only one person, and I think they were just trying to get their voice heard in the minutes, right? So, and so everyone's aware we had a stenographer who took all the notes of the convention, and those will be available down the road here as soon as they compile them. So there's some rumors out there, people saying things that might happen, might not happen. You'll be able to see for yourself exactly what occurred.
Be able to go minute by minute, and that's huge. And it was a great experience for me. I don't know if you guys follow up with our social media. I was able to make some videos. You probably saw. You were in one or two of them.
I did one or two. That's right.
And they were quite fun. I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of that convention, and I can't wait for the next one 4 years down the road.
Yeah, what's nice is we're all humans. We're all people. We want to have a good time while we're getting the work done. And for you to be able to get in front of people and just get some raw material like that it's good. It helps, and I think our members like to see it too. I've noticed that your number of likes, especially the video that I was in,
Was
going through the roof. So
definitely has increased our presence, and I like to see that too because we are very business. We're very business and rigid, but we're also not the company. We're not. I'm
right,
not American Airlines. I'm not Southwest Airlines. This is the IAM. We're made up of working people, and working people we're fun.
yeah,
And so
absolutely.
to be able to show that, I felt like was really awesome. All right, so now this next section I want to move into is a little bit more dynamic. Earlier this week, I had put out a video to our members and asked for their input, asked what kind of questions they want to hear you answer. And so I'll just go ahead. We got a couple in, so I'm just going to go ahead and let them loose. So the
All right.
first question is a rather easy one. Well, maybe it could be hard. So how does if a regular member wants to become president, directing, general chair of District 142, how conceivably could they make that happen?
So it's a process. It's not an easy process, but the first thing you have to do is get involved in the union, right? You have to start attending union meetings. You have to get involved in the events that the union takes care of. You have to get involved with your committees and your local lodges. You got to get elected to all the different conventions, the transportation, the District 142, the Grand Lodge convention, so that people get to know who you are and what you can do. And it's pretty simple. Earlier on in this interview, we talked about the committees, and I talked about how leaders rise in the mix. So if you really are committed to being involved in this union and doing the things that need to be done, all you have to do is show up. Just show up every day. Show up when it's hard. Show up when it's easy. Show up when no one expects you to show up. And show up because you want to show up, not because you're trying to win the popularity contest, right? And it's easy to see. It doesn't take long to realize who's out there to do the real work and who's out there to just say, look at me, look at me. But you got to commit yourself, and it's not an easy road. I've been doing this since 1988. I got involved in negotiations in '05. I've held just about every position in the union that you can hold. I've won elections. I've lost elections. Folks that I hung out with, on the floor said, "Why do you bother? This, you're never going to get there. It's a waste of time. There's people that don't like you, people that do like you." But I just stayed true to myself and just kept pushing and learning. Education is key. If you can get your local to send you to W3, learn the Railway Labor Act, learn what the NMB does, learn what the NLRB does. Just really, you just really got to get involved.
Yeah.
That's how it all starts.
Any way you can. And then, so the next question that was submitted, and this one is going to be a little bit more tough because this one you might have to think on it for a second. But this question was submitted. You've been PDGC for a couple years now. What is the hardest lesson you have learned as being president, directing, general chair of this district?
Wow.
First,
there's a lot of lessons. I mean, I've learned so much in this small window of time. But what's the hardest thing? Actually, it's pretty simple. Dealing with people. Being an aircraft mechanic, that airplane can't yell at me. I could hit it with a wrench. It's not going to say a word, right? And everybody is different. Some people need to be thanked and appreciated every minute of the day. Some people don't want to hear any of that stuff. Some people need you to kick them in the ass. Some people need you to rub their shoulders. It's a big process of figuring out who you're dealing with, right? Because everybody is here to do their job, and they want to do it the best they can. And they want to be appreciated for it, but everybody likes to be appreciated, guided, directed in a different fashion. A lot of people think that sometimes I'm a little too curt, but I can learn to be nice from time to time. I mean, I think that's it though. Just learning how to deal with people and treat them the way they want to be treated. That's it. That's an incredible task.
So just learning how to motivate certain people that work for you, kind of, or would you say motivate or just?
not always about motivation, even though that's a really big part of it,
Mm.
but it's about relationships, communication, and in the end, just driving the whole district forward by helping everybody the best you can.
Interesting. Okay. So another question that came in, and this one I'm interested to hear the answer on, is what has been the highlight of your career so far? If you
Hiring Zach Coker.
bam, see?
The highlight of this whole job, my whole career, is just PDGC.
Let's say just PDGC.
Okay, which is probably they all fall together anyway. When we can take contracts back to our membership that they ratify 97%, 87%, just because we're getting them the things that they need, the it's probably better than winning the lottery. I know that sounds a little crazy, but the level of satisfaction that you achieve when that happens, it's pretty priceless.
And you've done that quite a few times. I mean,
Yeah, we
I
got a
know
few.
at least a couple that have been ratified overwhelmingly. That's our favorite word here at the district.
That's right.
Overwhelmingly. This question didn't come from the members, but this one actually came from me that I would
Oh,
like
okay.
you to share with the members. So
I'm nervous now.
Yeah, you should be. What's something about John Coveny that you want our members to know about you?
Wow.
A secret, a hidden talent? Can you stand on your head? Can you know what's something?
I've been standing on my head for 3 years now. Let's see. Yeah, that's an easy one.
Okay.
I consider myself to be an amazing cornhole player.
Oh, okay.
I used to play a lot. Since I had this job, I have to admit I haven't played near as much. I do have cornhole boards in the district that I have set up, but we've been so busy with everything, the convention, the election, and our membership, I haven't had a whole lot of time to spend on it. And I used to be a really avid bike rider. I do have a new bike I brought into the district today. Zach made me take it out of the picture, but I'm going to get back into riding, right? Because physical health is just as important as mental health, and you can do a better job if you're doing better things. So
excellent. So cornhole extraordinaire in Tour de France.
Yeah, that would be
Tour
nice.
de France, man. Okay.
There's another little secret I'll share with you. My gift to myself when I retire in 2030, and that's my tentative date right now. I am going to France to watch the entire 21 days of Tour de France.
Oh, that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
What a retirement gift to yourself.
I'm excited.
Excellent. So, all right, John. Yeah, again, thanks for sitting down with me yet again. Always great when we get to sit down and chat with each other. I know you're very busy, so I'll let you get back to it. You got the election coming up. We got a lot of stuff in front of us. Thanks again for tuning in. It's always a great time when we can sit and chat. District 142, we'll be keeping up with you so long as you keep up with us. Thanks.